Before Mushu children could answer, Gao Xiang reached over and, with a ding, ended the call. Miss, this is a bit too much. Mulanhua showed a helpless look and put the phone back down. Now, Miss Mulanhua, are you willing to accept the facts? All right, I wish you success. The information the lame man gave me is, the deal will happen 17 miles south of the city, on the left side of turtle-shaped islet. The time? He didn't tell me. I guess it's when they arrive. Are you saying I should just wait there? Mulanhua said. Perhaps he will tell me again. Gao Xiang was clearly unhappy. Just then, the telephone rang. Mulanhua picked up the phone. Two words came from the other end. Son. Son. Mulanhua replied. The final time decided is midnight today. Understood. With a click, the other end hung up. Mr. Gao, Mulanhua said with a sad smile as she put down the phone. You probably heard that too. Midnight tonight. I wish you success. I accept your congratulations. Gao Xiang said very calmly, because my success or failure is directly related to your sister's life. As he spoke, he walked towards the door. He reached the door, suddenly stopped, turned around, and said, You can be sure, I keep my word. After the matter is finished, I will send your sister here to you. Not hand her over to the police. Even though she seems to work for the police, she actually works for you. She works for the police. Mulanhua laughed sadly. Mr. Gao, you are a puppet being pulled by strings. This was the third time Gao Xiang had heard Mulanhua call him that. He didn't care at all, nor did he think deeper about it, because at this moment, he was completely in charge. He Tianqing was dead. Mulanhua had been defeated by him. He could safely get the death ray weapon prototype and plans. Once he had them, he just had to give them to Chen Jiali. A quick deal, and he'd have 200,000 pounds. Haitian PH. What's wrong with being such a puppet a little longer? He almost walked out dancing. Mulanhua watched him walk out the door, then saw him disappear down the street. Mulanhua was very frustrated. She didn't blame Mu Xiuzhen, because it wasn't Mu Xiuzhen's fault. Xiuzhen was never a match for Gao Xiang. It was her own carelessness. Without delay, she immediately called her friend at the telephone company to ask about the address connected to that phone number. Just 5 minutes later, Mulanhua was on the move again. Her car headed towards the peak. When she was still some distance from the top, she got out of the car, took her black outfit and mask from the trunk, put them on, then quickly ran forward in an area without streetlights. By this time, there were few people left on the peak, only a few police officers slowly walking around. Mulanhua easily avoided them. In less than 20 minutes, she arrived in front of the house. She looked up. Several windows of the house had light coming out. Most of the windows were closed, but one, which looked like a bathroom window, was half open. Of course, entering through this window would be best. Mulanhua pressed against the wall, walking quietly. Soon, she was directly under the window. She looked up. The window was about 18 feet from the ground. Such a height was nothing for Mulanhua. She looked for places to step, moving as quickly as a clever monkey. Soon, her hand touched the window. She didn't immediately climb through the window. Instead, she slowly peeked her head in and looked inside. It was very dark inside, and she couldn't see anything. She waited for a moment, made sure no one was inside, then took out a small flashlight and shone it in. The flashlight beam showed, first, a bathtub, then a sink, and kitchen tools. As she expected, it was a bathroom. She didn't hesitate anymore, jumped in, and landed silently. With a small flashlight, She quickly found the door. She quietly walked to the door, grabbed the doorknob, turning it very carefully. Finally, she slowly pulled the door open. Just an inch or so, and looked out. The light outside was also very dim, but having been in darkness for a while, she could still see that it was a beautifully furnished living room, completely empty. 木兰花 was sure Mu Xiuzhen was here, but she didn't know which room she was kept in. She also didn't have detailed maps of this house, so she had to search room by room. Seeing that the living room outside was empty, she pulled the door open and entered. The living room was completely covered with thick carpets, allowing her to move silently. Mu Lanhua walked to the center of the living room. Suddenly, she stopped. She felt that something was wrong. It wasn't that any sound had scared her. Instead, there was no sound at all. It was too quiet. That too much silence immediately told Mu Lanhua that something was wrong. She wanted to leave right away, but it was already too late. The moment she turned, there was a snap, and the dark living room suddenly lit up brightly. Because of the sudden strong light, Mu Lanhua in that instant saw people standing behind almost every sofa. At the same time, a huge record player started playing music. It was a popular song called Welcome, My Love. Mu Lanhua was completely shocked for the first moment. Then she thought of fighting back. But Gao Xiang's voice had already come through. Welcome, welcome, Miss Mu Lanhua. Gao Xiang's words, mixed with the song Welcome, My Love, seemed to have a different meaning. But Mu Lanhua, at this moment, had no time to think about these hidden meanings. She knew she had walked into a carefully planned trap. She had always known that Gao Xiang was a very powerful and smart person, and his methods were naturally very skilled. But she had never expected Gao Xiang to be so tricky. Clearly, Gao Xiang had known she would come, and so he had specially prepared everything here to wait for her. And she herself had become like a fish that swam right into the net. The song Welcome, My Love stopped halfway through. Mu Lanhua looked around. Besides Gao Xiang, there were 7 or 8 other people watching her. Mu Lanhua naturally knew that trying to fight back more was useless. She just quickly looked at the electric clock on the wall. The time was 9:30. Gao Xiang would certainly have to rush to that small island by midnight for the deal. He would naturally leave here. Everything could wait until after he left. Miss, it's true what they say. Wherever we meet, it's fate. Gao Xiang rubbed his hands happily. You see, haven't we met again so soon? Please, sit. Mu Lanhua sat down, removed her mask, and shook her hair. Look, everyone. The real face of the famous female Black Knight Mu Lanhua is not something everyone gets to see. You should consider yourselves lucky to see such a sight. Gao Xiangxiang said to his helpers. Of course, Gao Xiang's words were meant to tease Mu Lanhua. Mu Lanhua hid her anger and stayed silent. In such a situation, if she spoke more, she would only get more teasing. Mr. Gao, if you don't leave soon, you'll be late, she said coldly. Thank you. Honestly, Miss Mu Lanhua, if you hadn't come to my humble house, I wouldn't have dared to do that deal at all. You think that highly of me? Of course, because I haven't beaten you. I have only beaten Mu Xiuzhen, and that's not a very glorious victory. As Gao Xiang spoke these words, his eyes were fixed on Mu Lanhua. In that moment, Mu Lanhua seemed to feel that, besides anger, there was something else in Gao Xiang's gaze. And her own heart was not as angry as before, because Gao Xiang at least admitted that beating her was not easy. At the same time, a very strange feeling came over her. Oh. Gao Xiang suddenly sighed and turned away. Old Huang, please bring Miss Mu Xizheng. Mu Lanhua saw him put a gun into his jacket pocket as he left. She then looked at the others. She saw that everyone, except Gao Xiang, had one hand out of her sight. That hidden hand, of course, held a weapon. Mulanhua smiled sadly to herself. Gao Xiang's words were not false. At least, he saw her as his main enemy. Less than 2 minutes later, the door opened, and Mu Xiyushen walked in. When she saw Mulanhua, she could barely believe her eyes. "Sister Mulanhua!" After a long moment, she finally cried out and rushed towards Mulanhua. Mulanhua quickly went to her, helped her stand steady, and gently patted her shoulder. Mu Xizhen calmed down, looked around, and asked, "Were you caught by them too?" "No." Mulanhua shook her head. "Mr. Gao's clever plan was too good. I walked right into the net myself." Mu Xizhen was shocked. Although she and Mulanhua were not actual sisters, having grown up with Mulanhua, they were like real sisters. She knew Mulanhua's personality better than anyone. She knew that Mulanhua was strong and would never give up to anyone. But now, she was speaking this way. What could it mean? She turned to look at Gao Xiang, who said somewhat awkwardly, "Miss Mulanhua, that was all just my lucky moment." "Miss Mulanhua, that was all just my lucky moment." Miss Mulanhua said coldly, "Don't pretend. What are you going to do to me?" "Well, if things go well, I think a little past midnight, I can call back and tell my helpers to let both of you go free." He walked back and forth a few steps, then added, "Miss Mulanhua, I hope we'll have a chance to meet again after this. Or perhaps after this, you'll be too embarrassed to meet me again." Mulanhua said coldly, "Or perhaps you won't dare to meet my sister Mulanhua again." Mu Xuzhen added. Their words clearly showed that they were far from giving up, and would not stay defeated until Gao Xiang released them. They still strongly believed they could turn things around. Gao Xiang shrugged. "Two beautiful ladies. I hope your clever minds won't make silly decisions. Are you practicing a play?" Mu Xuzhen mocked him without mercy. Gao Xiang waved his hand and went to the door. "I must go now. My 6 helpers are all well trained. We are like brothers. I advise both of you to sit and wait for my return." As soon as he finished speaking, he left the door. The 8 people in the living room stayed in the same places. The 6 men stood in a circle around Mulanhua and Mu Xizhen. "Sister Mulanhua," Mu Xizhen called, sounding worried. "Don't talk so much," Mulanhua said, waving her hand. She seemed deep in thought, stopping Mu Xizhen from saying more. The 6 strong men showed no feelings on their faces. They were clearly tough people whose minds couldn't be changed by just words. At the house's entrance, Gao Xiang felt happy. He whistled the song, "Welcome, My Love," as he opened his car door. He drove down the winding road to the coast. Soon, he reached the beach. A layer of fog covered the sea, making it hard to see. Gao Xiang parked his car by the beach. He walked a short way to where several speedboats were tied. He untied one speedboat and got on. In less than a minute, the 10-foot speedboat, with water splashing white from its front, sped forward like an angry shark.